Okay, we got a call from Captain Japan.
Hey, Rocco, how's my dear friend doing?
How's it going? It still looks like your room looks like a set. I
Hey,
just don't believe it. I don't buy it. I think there's some kind of hoax going on.
hey, I'll be honest with you. I swear to God, it seems like the same thing where you're at.
Oh,
I
really?
swear to God, it seems like that's
Well,
a
this
set.
is a set, but this is a set. There's no full transparency. But on your end, I don't know. I'm thinking it might be a little dishonest. I'm not sure. Who knows?
Don't worry about it. I assure you, this is my house.
Okay.
A little tour. I got my two TVs because sometimes you just want to watch two channels.
Yeah, well, some games look better on CRT, you know?
Exactly. I got some Mega 64 posters up there.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. So
So-
is this your room or is it your living is it like your living room?
This is my living room. There's a lot more
Okay.
to the house.
Oh, okay.
My
okay.
camera's not wireless, so I can't give you a tour.
Sure, yeah, I wasn't sure though if you want it's rare. Honestly, it's rare that I see Mega 64 artwork hung up prominently in the living room. Usually people like to tuck that away into the hidden parts of the home, you know?
Oh no, man! There's the front door. When people come in here, they get the
run
full
out.
package.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
No, I mean, God, nobody ever comes over here, so I'm just more than happy when someone visits.
Well, now you know why they don't. That's basically what garlic is to vampires. Those are to normal human beings. So, you know.
People can't handle too much Mega 64. That's my problem.
Hey, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that. That's definitely
Yeah.
true. But anyway, what happened? What's up? Did you have a question or comment?
I do have a question later, but I had I guess I just wanted to kind of gauge you on, over the weekend there was a lot of theme park stuff going down.
Hell yeah, there was. Yeah.
And I did watch your podcast, and
Yeah.
I just thought I'd pick your mind with some, because
Yeah.
after they announced everything for Disneyland, then they showed what us Disney Worlders are gonna get,
Yeah.
and Toy Story Land is kind of cool, but from what I'm hearing, our Star Wars Land is going to have basically where Star Tours is. So we're gonna have
Yeah.
Star Tours in the same
Sounds
place.
like it, huh? Yeah, it sounds like it.
So what I'm wondering is, what are they going to do with Disneyland? Because I don't know if you saw the tweet I sent, but
Yeah.
they're building Star Wars Land over near that ranch behind Toontown.
Yeah.
So what do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to keep Star Tours where it is, or do you think they're going to move it?
That's a good question. And I honestly, but picking up, I was hoping you were going to ask about this stuff on here because, there's a little bit I could talk about on the main podcast, but if I talk forever about it, it's kind of like, all right, move on. But here I could talk forever, so I'm happy.
People just, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Theme parks are important.
Yeah, it's true. No, I think they're supposed to be the same. I think for there to be, I'm split because I think that the Florida version of Star Wars Land is going to have Star Tours in it. Okay, I think that's true. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's really weird at Disneyland to not have Star Tours in Star Wars Land. Like, that just seems really dissonant. Like, it just seems like, what? At the same time, what's really the economic benefit of them moving it? Because honestly, like, it's already where it is. They don't need to do anything, and it's a classic in a classic spot. Everything about it is classic. So, what's the big benefit to moving it monetarily? But at the same time, if they're building from the same plans, maybe it wouldn't be... If they're already building this billion-dollar thing, maybe it wouldn't cost anything, really, to throw that in there. So I don't know. To me...
What I'm thinking is, because the big difference between Disneyland and Disney World is, over here, I've been defending Disney World for the longest time, but even they're cheap.
Yeah.
Here's a good example. Over at Disney Hollywood Studios, they built Pizza Planet right across from Muppets 3D, which at the time there was no Pixar in the park. So then they built Midway Mania on the opposite side of the park. So now you've got Pizza Planet on one side and Midway Mania on the other. And over here, I would expect that because it's been just Disney's been very built on the cheap over here.
Yeah.
But over there, it seems like they put a lot more effort.
Yeah, sometimes they don't, but I think space and real estate and all the other stuff here is such a commodity that adding anything has to be up to, I think we're still shell-shocked by California Adventure. Honestly, in the early 2000s, California Adventure was this giant thing made on the cheap, using all the leftover land, any land left at Disneyland, they used that, and it was so rejected and absolutely shit on by everybody that I think they're afraid of tapping into that again. So I definitely think there's a fear in going cheap.
That's why I'm hoping, and if they do that, then maybe they'll open up something that Star Tours in Tomorrowland,
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's one of the biggest complaints over here is at Hollywood Studios. Back in the day, this used to be a real production studio. They shot movies. Ernest Saves Christmas was shot on the interstate leading into Disney World.
Oh, there you go.
And Midway Mania it is such a bitch to get to because it is crammed in the area of the park, which was originally just studio. So it just wasn't made for it. And it's always been like California Adventure I got, but I don't know, people don't seem to complain about Disney World as much. Like Disney,
because
it just kind of feels like, well, we got the big crowds and they don't seem to care, so why should we?
Disney World really, and not to, I'm not even saying this to knock it, because Disney World has a lot of its own stuff to offer. But Disney World is definitely seen as a kind of cool tourist thing. And Disneyland isn't like, Disneyland for some reason has, I think maybe because it was the original, or I don't know, but Disneyland has way more diehard support. For whatever reason. And I don't know why it's quite as strong. I get, it's the original, okay, whatever, but it still blows my mind how strong it is. That, you do anything to Disneyland, and you'll get hell for it. I mean, even going back to Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. When they ripped that out of Disney World, it was like, yeah, okay, some people were upset. If you did that in Disneyland, in California, people would be firebombing the Disney offices. It's really weird, the distinction, So it's kind of interesting.
I've gotten into arguments about it over here because, going back to Hollywood Studios, back when they were celebrating Walt Disney's 100th birthday, they decked out everything in all this temporary stuff. They made the castle look like a cake. They put a giant hand over the Epcot ball. And they built this giant sorcerer's hat right in front of the Chinese theater. And it was such an eyesore.
Yeah.
And people for years were like, you've torn everything else down. Why is this still up?
Yeah.
And Disney just kept cramming more shit in front of it. Because then they build the hat, and then they build a stupid, right now there's a big, they tore down the hat finally. Thank God. Everyone was like, oh, thank God. Now we can finally see the beautiful Mons Chinese Theater. And what do? They put up a temporary stage for Frozen. Yeah, so now, you enter the park and Frozen stage instead of the Chinese Theater. And it sucks because when they were building the park, they actually took the measurement from the opening at Disneyland to the castle and made sure it was exactly the same length as the opening from Hollywood Studios to the Chinese Theater. Because they were using that as, I guess, as a ruler, as you could say.
Yeah.
And it's just, and I'd still get people who'd be like, because over here, the news actually does take this stuff pretty seriously. They actually have, on our local news network, theme park wars. Yeah, because, dude, over here, it's a lot more, it's a lot more exciting. Like that would lead into my second question. So, what do you think? What are you more excited about? Star Wars Land or a Nintendo Land?
I think the potential. Ah, man. If they did, this is my opinion. The Nintendo Land idea has more potential. If they made a fucking crazy theme park that was mind-bending technology and whoa, you're in the Mushroom Kingdom, but over there is Hyrule, and over there is... That to me would be like, whoa, this is heavy. You know, I don't know. I think Nintendo as a general thing, you could go to so many, you know, we're at a point now where Nintendo's not really as niche as it used to be. Nintendo, at this point, everyone watching this grew up with it. You know, that they're to not grow up with Nintendo at this point, you have to be pretty old. And
Nintendo is, I mean, what kids nowadays know of, you know, old Disney movies?
Yeah.
Nintendo is the Disney of video games.
Sure. I mean, Nintendo, I think Disney is still very charming in many ways, but Nintendo has that and has yet to tap into it as much. And so I think the potential is greater. However, if I was giving the plans to someone to not fuck it up, Star Wars is a safer bet. Because you look at Star Wars as a movie, it's a little more tangible. All you got to do is recreate the stuff that was physically there in some of the movies, and you're set. And it'll be really cool. You know?
Do you think it's a good idea that they're putting a lot of effort into the new movies and not as much into the old movies in the land?
Well, no. I mean, frankly, no. I think that's stupid because none of that's proven.
Yes!
I think
I was just arguing that.
The safest thing in the world is make them based on the 3 old movies that every fucking person likes. But, however, I do... by the time this is all built, the new movies will be out. And the one thing that I think... I was confused by this, and I think other people were too. But what cleared it up is I saw a lot more Imagineers talk about it. And it seems like rather than... It kind of gave me the impression about being built on the new movies a lot more than it was. Apparently, the Star Wars land is going to be its own planet that is made for Disneyland. It is its own location that is meant to be a hub for Disneyland, and there's going to be shit from all the movies. And specifically what they were talking about with the new movies was some of the more details, you know, like there may be stuff from, you know, the First Order. I guess that's something in the new movie. I don't really know.
I was reading the press release, and they mentioned, like, the First Order is what the Empire is called now, and the Resistance, that's what they're calling the Rebellion now?
So, yeah.
And that, because in my argument, shout out to Jordan Jones, you know, awesome dude on the Mega 60 forums. Because here's the thing. Let's say, like, this was back in 1999, and Disney bought Star Wars. And they were like, wow, Lucas, we can't wait. This Phantom Pain's coming out. We're going to have a pod racing ride. We're going to have Star Wars Land based on Naboo. You know, if they had gone with that, imagine what would have happened when the movies came out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. So, they must feel pretty confident. But I don't think... The difference, though, I don't think the whole land depends on those new movies. There are they are mentioning that in the press releases because they want synergy. You know, they want that, okay, by the time this land opens, the new movies will be out, and it's just all going to blend together in one big celebration. That's what they want. But from the sound of it, it sounds like the land stands on its own. It's not one place from any one movie. You've got the cantina, and it's meant to be in vague territory, whether it's a new thing or the movie or whatever. It sounds like the only thing from these new movies is going to be little details that could potentially be changed if these things suck, if the world hates them, you know? So I'm not too worried about that. I do kind of feel like, you know, my honest concern in it is not the connection to the new movies. Now, as it is, I just want great rides. They promised 2 big e-ticket rides in Star Wars Land. And they mentioned one of them, you take control of the Millennium Falcon. I can't see that one being anything but, I mean, that's got to be some kind of projection thing. I can't see that being animatronics or anything like fucking Pirates of the Caribbean. That's just me. I could be wrong. But then they mentioned the other ride is you get dropped in the middle of a Star Wars battle. And I just hope that this stuff is really impressive, physically built stuff. I don't want a lot of projection screens. That's what I'm tired of. I don't see anything wrong with projections enhancing things that are already there. Like the Indiana Jones ride, they've been adding all these kinds of projection effects to it, and I think they're fantastic because there's already great stuff built. So adding effects to make it look like they're cracking and things, yeah, why not? That looks awesome. But I hope that both these rides aren't just some screen I'm looking at. I really want to be in the middle, just in the way Pirates, you're in the middle. Wow, I'm in the middle of a fucking old town full of stuff. Say what you
Johnny
want about
Depp.
but you know what I mean? Yeah, Johnny Depp. But regardless of what you think about the little things or Pirates in general, you got to deny or you can't deny the atmosphere of that ride is fantastic. It's perfect. You're out in this village at night. It's great. And I want them to replicate that with Star Wars. I really hope. I would love to get some kind of dark ride where I'm in a Star Wars location and it's really big around me and something like that. I don't want to look at a screen. So that's just my take on that.
No, that's fair because, just like with a lot of movies, we want to see more practical effects, less special effects.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my biggest argument with Avatar.
Yeah. Now,
sure, it looks pretty, but, a beautiful movie isn't going to be as memorable as a well-written movie.
Yeah. Something with meat to it. I have to say, though, I was really, I didn't get to talk about this much last week. I was, unfortunately, or fortunately, I was actually genuinely impressed by what I saw of Avatar Land when I went to D23. I think the idea of an Avatar Land is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, that is so irrelevant now, and that park is still not open for like 2 more years. That blows my mind. But, the Imagineer team is really good, and they're not going to half-ass it. There's some things they have that Disney management wants to half-ass, but the Imagineering team, it has that Disney touch to it. And when I went D23, I went to the pavilion, the Imagineering pavilion, where they had some Avatar stuff on display. And when you walk up, it was big, really great artwork, posters of locations on Pandora, and it said, Alpha Centauri flights. Join Alpha Centauri flights today. How should you migrate your family to Pandora? Well, we'll tell you. It all had that Disney touch of, they painted it like, hey, move your family here. Hey, what? Like it was some kind of, travel agency, very Star Tours. And it felt it had that Disney sense of humor to it. And then once they showed me models and stuff of the park, it was all physically built. It looked great. They've got one ride that's kind of like soaring over California. That could go either way. That could be phony, could be crap, who knows. But they have a boat ride that looks awesome. Like you go in a boat and it's pitch black and the forest starts to become bioluminescent around you, and it's just a great classic dark ride. So I think it's going to be really cool. It's a shame that it's based on Avatar, honestly. But they're doing a great job with what they have. And I think that's going to be really cool. But the unfortunate thing is you could tell they're spending all their money on that and Star Wars. Because, man, Toy Story Land is not shaping up well at all. That looks like, like carnival rides painted to look like Toy Story. That's not good.
Of all the stuff they could have taken from Hong Kong, they chose, like, the worst reviewed land.
And that was the fear. I know a lot of people who are into Disney World that feared that for a long time.
Because, I hear Cars Land is great, but you'd think out of the 2 properties, Toy Story would be much more prime for a theme park land.
Exactly.
Because it's based on, like, a variety of toys rather than just, the cars. And, like, obviously Toy Story is still Pixar's best movie. But, I'm pretty disappointed with Toys Land. But, you know what? They really need something at the Disney Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. And it feels like such a temporary patch on it. But I was going to say, the thing I will say about Cars Land is when you hear that, you kind of think, Cars Land? I like the movie Cars, but I never would have asked for a land of that. But what works about it is that it's interesting. What makes Cars Land great, like when you visit it, what is really great about it is it's so tangible. It's not, I like the concept of Toy Story Land more. If you had to tell me which one I could build, I would want to build a Toy Story one more. But what makes Cars Land feel good when you're there, it fits Disneyland really well because you get there, it feels very much like, just like the movie, a California pit stop. In the movie, that's what it is. That's what it's off Route 66 or whatever. Maybe it's not in California, wherever it is, but it feels like a road pit stop. It's very mom and pop restaurants, big scenic mountains around you. You're hearing Johnny Cash playing on the radio. You're here, lots of random ass junk food. Like, they built that perfectly, and so when you go there, it feels very like. It feels larger than life, but at the same time, it feels right. Like, yeah, we're in another place, but it feels familiar too. Toy Story is hard to execute because, yeah, you have to make yourself appear small. How do you what shit do you build that's bigger? That's a little intimidating. It's not quite as warm as Cars Land is, and so that's kind of difficult. And so I think they tried their best with these Toy Story Land plans, but yeah, it's just a roller coaster and some flat rides. Like, it really, yeah,
it is.
It's just kind of to do it. I think to do Toy Story Land right, you've got to spend billions of dollars to really make that impressive, and they're not willing to do that because I think all that's going to Star Wars.
Yeah,
and that's unfortunate. I feel like if you can do Toy Story Land big, don't do it at all. That's how I feel. But Anyway,
that's why I wish, like, you guys have never been to Universal Studios over here, right? You guys have only been to the one in California.
The other guys might have, but I have not. I know Universal's better over there.
I wish Universal has been doing a lot better over the years, but I wish it was doing even better because, yeah, it's night and day with California. I love going to Universal even more than Disney nowadays.
Yeah.
Because if you ever do come here, you need to check out Islands of Adventure.
Yeah, that's all I ever hear. That's all I ever hear.
Well, like, I didn't read the Harry Potter books. I saw like the first 2 movies, but the parks lands are really good. Yeah. Over here, they've got this. One of the coolest things about Pirates of the Caribbean over there is there's that Blue Bayou restaurant where you can go inside. And you're literally sitting inside the ride and everything.
Pirates, let me just go on record and plant the flag. Not to cut you off, but Pirates of the Caribbean here is the best dark ride ever made. I'm saying it. Come fight me on it if you will, but yes, we've got it. We got atmosphere on lock. Anyway.
It's cool. We've got an interactive display outside where kids can actually carry around a paper map.
Okay.
And hold up some sort of paper compass. I don't know what it is, but, I'll take that any day over a great dark ride.
Oh, come on.
No, I won't.
Okay.
But the thing is, well, over here in Harry Potter, like, they did another land. And there's literally a whole side section where you go inside and it's not a ride. It's like they just roofed in this whole back alley. So you walk in and it feels like you're in an interactive ride where there's a shop back there. You look up in the sky and there's like dark clouds and stars twinkling. It's honestly the best thing I've seen at a theme
is it
park.
Diagon Alley?
Yes, Diagon Alley.
Is that the area? I've seen them add on to it and all that stuff, but is that the area with the dragon on the roof and all that stuff?
Yes.
Now, wait. I've seen all that stuff. I've seen all the... I watched videos and all that stuff, which, by the way, I can't stand Harry Potter. I would love to visit that. I'm not into it, but it has a very defined world, and they built it with such detail.
That's why I'm really hoping
it's incredible.
that they could bring the same talent to Nintendo Land.
Yeah.
If they can bring it to Nintendo Land, I could see Disney seriously finding themselves in some major competition.
I agree. I think Nintendo is the sleeping dragon, not to bring up dragons again, but I think that's the sleeping dragon. Right now it seems hot to like, oh yeah, Harry Potter, yeah, Star Wars, yeah, kind of in the battle between each other. But Nintendo, holy shit, you're going to get 1-year-olds and 90-year-olds that want to go to that. And to a degree, you do get that with Star Wars, but Nintendo might be able to even be a bigger threat than that, you know? And so I agree. I hope that goes well, because I like competition. Honestly, I want them to light a fire under Disney's ass so they can't do cheap shit anymore, you know?
The big thing is, and I mentioned this before, I think on the forums.
Yeah.
What's the one huge profit that Disney makes in like of all their stuff? You know?
I mean, I think their theme parks are probably their biggest profitable thing, right?
It is. It is. It's their princesses.
Oh, yeah.
And if Universal gets Nintendo, suddenly they've got princesses.
Oh, then they got more than one.
Yeah, I think if they definitely use, because man, princesses is huge business. They've got just, you know, you've been to the gift shops. They've got dresses all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think if Universal really uses, you know, Zelda, Peach,
yeah,
you know, that
really cool.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think you were saying something. Did you have a question about Diagon Alley?
Oh yeah, what I was gonna, it just reoccurred to me. But what I was gonna ask about it is, I've seen that stuff. I've seen images of it and things like that. But what you said just struck me funny. Is it? I've seen the dragon on the roof and all that stuff. Is that whole area indoors?
What they did was cool. Okay, so you've got.
I thought it was all outside, just like anything else. Yeah. What is it?
It is and it isn't. So over at Universal Studios, they've got sections that lands. They've got New York, so they've got buildings that look like New York. Then next to it, they've got a big lake, and there's a San Francisco themed area. And this was so clever. Right next to the San Francisco themed area is a London themed area. So you've got this big wall of like actual London buildings from Windhelm, you know, actual like nothing that indicates Harry Potter. It's just a bunch of London buildings, except for they've got a bus out front. It's I guess a bus that they used in one of the movies. But once you walk up to that building, you know, it's just normal London. You go through they've got these entrances built into the buildings. You walk through them, and suddenly there you are. You're in Diagon Alley. Suddenly all the buildings are all these witches. You got the dragon up on the top. It was really neat because it really didn't just detract from, you know, the San Francisco, New York, because it's like, oh, there's London, you know, just another city. And that like that roofed in area I told you about, it's just off to a side. It's just another section of the park.
Okay. Huh.
So it's like its own weird mini world. Because one thing that they do, because we've got Halloween Horror Nights over here, is it's got a train that leads to the other park. So they'll like cordon off that area, and they can literally make that a part of Islands of Adventure when they need to. It's weird to explain, but
yeah,
it's a cool idea. It's like its own mini park inside of Universal that they can open and close whenever they want to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got to check that out. But I'll be curious to see how it is, the one they're building at Hollywood. Are there plans for what that's going to look like? I haven't seen anything.
Well, the Hollywood one should be just like, what's it called? Hogsmeade, which is over at Islands of Adventure.
Okay.
Now the ride at Hogsmeade, awesome ride. It's I like it. Now it does have a lot of video.
Sure.
But it also has a lot of practical effects. Like,
okay, cool.
Like they've got a full-on animatronic dragon that'll just bust through a wall, breathing fire and smoke at you. So like, it's a great ride. I loved it. Now, I don't know if they're going to do the same thing over there, but I hear in Japan you have to wear 3D glasses.
Oh.
Over here you don't have to, and I don't know about you, but I hate putting on 3D glasses when I go on rides.
I don't really care. I'd rather not. I don't really want a thing on me, but I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Well, yeah, it was great talking to you about the theme parks. I really actually wanted to, pick your mind on a lot of that stuff.
Cool, yeah, I'm glad we got to talk about that. That's really cool.
Shit, I did have a question about... That's right. Okay, sorry to the chat. This will be just a short question. So I sent an email. As you know, where I work, I wear a lot of polos. I can't wear a lot of licensed stuff to work. I didn't get a reply on this. I don't know if it's okay to ask this over the chat, but so I buy a lot of your shirts. You know, I got what I want to know is this. I have a friend who has an embroidering machine. And I'd love to get maybe like the classic Mega 64 logo, the Club 64 logo embroidered on some of my polos. And now before I go doing stuff like that, I just want to ask if that's okay. I'm not selling them. I just want to wear them to, you know, work.
If you're not selling it, make your own thing. I don't care.
Kick ass. All right. Well, that's great, man. I appreciate it.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you. This is a great call. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. All right. I'm out of here. See you guys.
What the fuck? The fuck just happened? Just leave?